My name is Terry Miller-Bushman. I'm a Greater Richmond Wolf Trap teaching artist, as well as a Virginia Commission of the Arts dance teaching artist. I love bringing movement to the classroom, and I love tackling the problem of wiggly, squirmy movers. I like to scaffold my classroom from non-locomotive movement sitting on the ground on the polydots, as you can see, to standing up, incorporating more locomotive movement around and on the dots, as you will see. This lesson specifically includes rhyming and sequencing. And at the beginning of every one of my lessons, I will have laid out polydots on the ground, which you could also make your own dots if you can't afford polydots if your classroom doesn't have them. Obviously, you would have them spread out much wider than this, so students would have their own room to stretch out their arms without hitting their neighbor. And I would suggest reviewing the self-space bubble in the Wolf Trap educational videos as well. For my rhyming experience, I like to take a word, a sight word, a vocabulary word, anything the classroom teacher is working on, and we go with it, we work with it. So today we're going to be working with the word cat. And what I do first is I show flashcards. I would show one flashcard to the students, and I would ask them if they could identify what this is or read it. We would sound it out together. And then I would show them the next flashcard and ask them to tell me what this is. And I'd say, cat, bat. Do you notice anything the same about these two words? And hopefully I'm looking for the end sounds the same. And notice how I've underlined the ending of the two words, the AT. So if somebody guesses, that's fantastic. You guessed it. They both have the at sound at the end of the words. Then I would say rhyming words, the end sounds the same. Can you think of any other words that rhyme with the word cat or bat? Go ahead and let the students say any words they want. Silly words are okay too. So we have the words cat and bat. Next, I'm going to teach them a chant. Let me put these up. So I will be sitting in a circle with the rest of the students, and I'm going to teach them the chant slowly, and then we're going to build up a little faster, keeping a steady beat on my legs, and it goes like this. Rhyming words, the end sounds the same. Rhyming words, let's play a game. When I say cat, you say bat. Cat, bat, cat, bat, cat, and bat. I would repeat that 2 or 3 times. Repetition is key. After you teach the chant, you can ask, how does a cat move? If you were a cat, how would you move? Why don't you show me from sitting on your spot how you would move if you were a cat? Again, observation is key. I love watching students before I show them any of my own movement and describing what they're doing, because often they're going to do more creative movement than I would even do. So I would ask them to show me how they move if they were a cat. And then I might ask them, what color cat are they? What color eyes do they have? And then I would ask them to show me how they would move on their spots from sitting if they were a bat, right? So you might have some arms flapping up and down. And once they've explored from sitting, then you can try to introduce the music. So still from sitting, play doing their cat moves, cat, and their bat. And repeat over and over again. Cats, show me how your bat moves. Good, and you can repeat that over and over again. They will love this, trust me. Now they're ready to stand. But first, before you stand, you need to demonstrate how you want them to dance on their dots. Because if you don't, they might be running into each other, running all around the room. We don't want that. So, explain they could either dance on their dot or they can go around the edge of their dot like they're tracing the dot with their toes. And see what happens. Let's just see what kind of creative movement with the same music, cat to bat, cat to bat. Here we go. gonna be cats. And bats. And cats. And you just do this over and over again. You call out whatever they're doing. Notice the body parts they're moving. Notice the levels. Are they going high to low? Are they going slow? Are they being creepy like a cat? Are they going fast with their wings? Now from here, you can progress to a more locomotive movement pattern. You can get into pathways with these polydots, and this is where it can start getting fun once your dancers and your students learn how to stay in their self-space bubble. So you can set up your polydots in any formation that you want throughout the classroom. Again, spread them out. This could be zigzag. It could be a weaving pathway, a curvy pathway, a straight line. You could go in between the desks with it, just practicing their cat-like movements in a single straight line and their bat movements. So I would make this a game, sort of like Simon Says, but I call it Miss Terry Says. So I'll say, Miss Terry says, dance like a cat, right? And they already know, stay in a straight line, stay in the dots. Don't forget to stop the music, right? Because it's also freeze dance. Teach your students that when you're moving, if you start the music, they move. If you stop the music, they freeze, right? So pause. And then if I say, Miss Terry says, dance like a bat, you start going like a bat. All the while, everyone has to locomote and travel on the pathway that you created for them. Here we go. Miss Terry says, dance like a cat. Miss Terry says, dance like a bat. And freeze. And you can do this, play with it, going back and forth. Again, this is another sequence, A-B pattern. We're doing cat to bat. We've also rhymed cat and come up with our own rhyming words. I hope you guys enjoy this one.